No one entered the Ashreach Valley and came back. Scouts burned. War beasts vanished. Even drones melted midair, their feeds ending in static and screaming heat. The dragons of Ashreach didn't defend territory. They erased intruders. That was why the coalition maps marked the valley with a simple warning. Do not approach, which was exactly why Caleb Ward was there. Not as a soldier, not as a hero, but as a human contractor with a busted transport, a bad knee, and a cargo crate labeled Emergency Field Grill, property of Earth Colonial Supply. Caleb stared at the jagged black cliffs surrounding him, steam rising from cracks in the stone. Well, he muttered, this is either the worst picnic spot in the galaxy, or the last one I'll ever see. The heat wasn't natural. It breathed. The rocks pulsed faintly red, like embers under ash. Somewhere deep in the valley, something enormous shifted. Caleb felt it in his bones, the same way prey animals knew when eyes were on them. Dragons, plural. He could turn back, except his transport was dead, the beacon fried, and his rations had run out 2 days ago. Caleb sighed and popped open the crate. If I'm dying, he said, I'm at least eating first. He set up the grill like muscle memory, legs locked, heat shield angled, ignition coil whining to life. He pulled out the last of his supplies, synthetic beef slabs, spice rub from Earth, a small bottle labeled Sweet Hickory Smoke. As the grill heated, smoke curled upward. Not burning metal smoke, not fierce smoke, food smoke. The valley changed. Deep beneath the stone, massive lungs paused. Golden eyes opened. High above the valley floor, on obsidian ledges and lava-veined spires, dragons lifted their heads. They were ancient, scaled in iron red and midnight black, wings folded like mountains. These creatures knew the scent of fear, blood, and burning cities. They did not know the smell. Warm, savory, almost comforting. A low rumble passed between them. Confusion, hunger, suspicion. Caleb flipped the slab, humming off-key. Come on, he muttered. Don't fail me now. Fat sizzled. The smell intensified. A massive shadow slid across the ground. Caleb froze. Slowly, very slowly, he looked up. A dragon's head lowered from the cliff edge, larger than his entire grill. Its scales shimmered like molten bronze, nostrils flaring as it inhaled deeply. The dragon did not roar. Sniffed. Caleb swallowed. You want some? This was not how first contact was supposed to go. The dragon's pupils narrowed, focusing not on Caleb, but on the grill. Another head appeared, then another. The valley filled with massive shapes, wings half spread, talons gripping stone. Any other species would have screamed, attacked, or run. Caleb did the most human thing possible. He grabbed a pair of tongs, lifted a cooked slab, and set it carefully on a metal plate. Then he stepped back. No tricks, he said quietly. Just food. Silence. The largest dragon lowered its head until its breath rolled over him like a furnace. Then, very gently, it extended a claw, pinched the meat, brought it to its mouth. Bit. The dragon froze. His eyes widened, not in rage but shock. The flavor hit like memory it never had. Fat, smoke, salt, sweetness, fire, controlled. Not destruction. Craft. The dragon let out a low, rumbling sound that shook dust from the cliffs. Not a roar. Purr. Other dragons surged forward, crowding dangerously close. One snapped at another in impatience. A third exhaled flame, then stopped, confused, as the smell of cooked meat overwhelmed instinct. Caleb backed up slowly. Okay, he whispered. Note to self. Dragons like barbecue. From higher ground, a larger dragon observed. Her scales were darker, streaked with silver. Old scars traced her wings. Her eyes were sharp, not just hungry, but calculating. This was Verithes, the brood queen of Ashreach. She saw what the others did not. The human was not afraid. Not because he was brave, because he was focused on feeding. A dangerous thing, a fascinating thing. Verithes descended. The ground cracked as she landed before Caleb, dwarfing him completely. The other dragons fell silent. Caleb's heart hammered, but his hands stayed steady. She lowered her head until her eyes met his. "You carry fire," she said, voice like stone grinding stone. "But you do not use it as a weapon." Caleb blinked. "You can talk." "Yes." He nodded slowly. "That tracks." She inhaled again, deeply savoring the smoke. "What is this ritual?" Caleb glanced at the grill, then back at the Dragon Queen. "This," he said, "this is dinner." Verithes descended. The ground cracked as she landed before Caleb, dwarfing him completely. The other dragons fell silent. Caleb's heart hammered, but his hands stayed steady. She lowered her head until her eyes met his. "You carry fire," she said, voice like stone grinding stone. "But you do not use it as a weapon." Caleb blinked. "You can talk." "Yes." He nodded slowly. "That tracks." She inhaled again, deeply savoring the smoke. "What is this ritual?" Caleb glanced at the grill, then back at the Dragon Queen. "This," he said, "this is dinner." Caleb had fed hostile wildlife before. Space raccoons on Vega 9. Six-legged sand grazers on Karth. Once, a very angry fungus colony that turned out to be lactose intolerant. But he had never fed an entire valley of apex predators who could melt battleships. Yet here he was. Sweat trickled down his spine as dragons ringed the grill, massive heads lowered, nostrils flaring like bellows. Their tails twitched with impatience. One accidentally scorched a boulder and immediately looked embarrassed when the smoke interfered with the food smell. Verithes, the brood queen, watched everything. "Explain," she said calmly. "Why my kin are restraining themselves for cooked flesh." Caleb cleared his throat. Because raw meat is fine. Fire is power. But cooking," he gestured vaguely, "that's respect." The dragons went still. Respect was a concept they understood. Caleb hesitated, then reached into his crate again. "One more thing," he said. "This part is optional." He pulled out 3 squeeze bottles. The labels glinted in the heat. Smoky ember sauce, sweet molasses glaze, hot pepper inferno. Verithes' eyes narrowed. "You are adding fire to fire?" "Different fire," Caleb said quickly. "Smarter fire." That earned a low rumble of interest. He brushed sauce onto the meat and placed it back on the grill. The smell changed, deepened, somewhere between flame and memory. The nearest dragon inhaled so hard it nearly sucked the grill forward. He brushed sauce onto the meat and placed it back on the grill. The smell changed, deepened, somewhere between flame and memory. The nearest dragon inhaled so hard it nearly sucked the grill forward. Dragons lose all dignity. When Caleb offered the next piece, there was no hesitation. A dragon snatched it midair. Another nudged Caleb aside with its snout. Not threatening, just impatient. A third tried to lick the grill and yelped when it was still hot. Verithes watched her warriors, ancient terrors of the sky, queuing. "I see," she murmured. She leaned closer to Caleb. "You did not come to conquer." "Nope. You did not come to steal." "Definitely not." "You came hungry." Caleb nodded. Story of humanity. High above the valley, something else arrived. Coalition drones. Sleek, armored, bristling with sensors and weapons. Their AI screamed warnings back to command centers. Dragons active. Human presence confirmed. Expect casualties. Targeting systems locked. Red dots flickered across dragon scales. Caleb noticed the shadows first. Oh no. Verithes felt it too. Her wings flexed. "They returned to kill you," she said. Caleb looked up at the drones, then at the dragons, mouth still full, sauce dripping from fangs. "Hey," he said softly. "Can we not do the murder thing yet?" The dragons hesitated, because for the first time the human wasn't afraid for himself. He was worried for them. Caleb stepped forward into the open. Every targeting laser snapped onto his chest. "Coalition command," he said loudly, waving both arms. "This is Caleb Ward. I am alive. Please stop aiming weapons at my dinner guests." A pause. Static. Then a stunned voice crackled through the drone's speakers. Ward, are those dragons? Yes. Are they hostile? Caleb glanced back. A dragon carefully licked sauce from another dragon's horn. No. Silence. You're standing among them. Yes. How? Caleb thought about it. BBQ. Verithes rose to her full height, wings spreading. The drones recoiled instinctively. She spoke not to the machines but to the sky itself. Leave, she commanded. This human is under my protection. Heat surged. The drone systems overloaded, not attacked, just overwhelmed by sheer presence. One by one, they powered down and retreated. The valley exhaled. Verithes turned to Caleb. Human, she said. Ashreach has burned all who entered for 3,000 cycles. Caleb swallowed. Yeah, I read the sign. She lowered her head. You may return. The other dragons rumbled in agreement. Some reluctantly, some eagerly, one still chewing. You may bring food, she added. Caleb blinked. That's it? No tests? No combat? Her eyes glinted with something like amusement. You passed the only one that mattered. And that was? You treated fire as something to share. By morning, Ashreach Valley had changed. Not the rocks, not the lava flows, the mood. Where once the air felt sharp and predatory, now it hummed low, warm, almost lazy. Dragons lounged across sun-warmed stone, wings half-folded, tails lazily flicking ash. A pair argued quietly over who had eaten more glaze. Caleb woke with a crick in his neck and a dragon the size of a shuttle snoring 6 feet away. Okay, he muttered. Definitely not on the contract. Verithes summoned him after breakfast. If watching dragons lick sauce off rocks counted as breakfast. You will explain, she said. Why the red sauce burns yet comforts. Caleb held up the bottle. Capsaicin. It tricks pain sensors. Humans like controlled danger. The dragons stared. You enjoy pain, one elder rumbled. Not exactly, Caleb said. We enjoy surviving it. That earned thoughtful silence. Then Karath, the same dragon who had tried to lick the grill, spoke up. Could we survive it more? Caleb sighed. I knew this was coming. The second group arrived by mid-cycle. Not soldiers. Merchants. 3 non-dragon species approached the valley's edge with shields raised and terror leaking from every movement. Their scanners screamed warnings. Yet their cargo pods hovered behind them. They smelled it too. Cooked meat carried on thermal currents. Impossible, whispered one. The dragons should have killed everything. Then they saw Caleb waving. Oh no, another said. The human is dead. Caleb shouted. Still alive. Please don't run. They ran anyway. Verithes watched the fleeing merchants with narrowed eyes. They always come wanting something, she said. Gold, scales, eggs. Caleb stiffened. Eggs? Her voice dropped. Our future. She led him deeper into the valley, past heat veils and magma vents, to a cavern shielded by ancient runes. Inside, dragon eggs. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Their shells pulsed faintly with warmth and light. Caleb's breath caught. They're beautiful. They are vulnerable, Verithes said. And others learned that long ago. She looked at him. So we burned the world first. Caleb rubbed his face slowly. So everyone assumes dragons are monsters. They attack. You defend harder. Cycle continues. Yes. And no one ever thought to just not steal from you? Silence. Verithes blinked. That is absurdly simple. Yeah, Caleb said. That's kind of our thing. Later that day, a young dragon, barely larger than a transport shuttle, snuck toward the grill. Caleb wasn't looking. The dragon exhaled in excitement. Fire. The grill went up in flames. Caleb yelped and stumbled back, coughing. The valley froze. Every dragon tensed, eyes snapping to him. Had he been harmed? Caleb waved frantically. I'm fine. Just Grill's dead. A low, horrified rumble spread. The young dragon shrank back. I ruined the firebox. Verithes' voice cut like steel. You endangered the guest. Caleb stepped in fast. Hey, it's okay. All eyes snapped to him. It's just a grill, he said. Stuff breaks. People learn. He knelt beside the young dragon, holding up a soot-blackened grate. Accidents don't mean exile. The dragon stared. Then, carefully, lowered its head so Caleb could touch its snout. History bent again. That night, Verithes spoke to her brood. Fire destroys, she said. But the human has shown us another use. She turned to Caleb. You do not fear our flame. He shrugged. I respect it. The queen bowed her head. Then stay. Caleb blinked. Stay? How long? As long as you wish, she said. As our guest. Karath leaned in. And instructor of sauce. Caleb laughed despite himself. Okay, he said. But tomorrow we're doing vegetables. The dragons groaned. The galaxy did what it always did when something impossible happened. Panicked. Trade guilds argued. Militaries scrambled. Cultural councils held emergency sessions that lasted days and solved nothing. Sensor logs from Ashreach Valley were replayed again and again. Dragons resting, not attacking. Fire signature stable. A single human walking freely among them. And worst of all, the dragons had stopped burning intruders. That terrified everyone. The galaxy did what it always did when something impossible happened. Panicked. Trade guilds argued. Militaries scrambled. Cultural councils held emergency sessions that lasted days and solved nothing. Sensor logs from Ashreach Valley were replayed again and again. Dragons resting, not attacking. Fire signature stable. A single human walking freely among them. And worst of all, the dragons had stopped burning intruders. That terrified everyone. The diplomats approached carefully, bowing low. Great Queen of Ashreach, one began, voice trembling. We seek peaceful relations, trade, cooperation. Verithes' eyes flicked past them, toward their ship. Leave, she said simply. The diplomat swallowed. We offer compensation. For what? She asked. There was a pause. For access. Caleb closed his eyes. Verithes' wings unfurled slowly, heat rolling outward like a storm front. You still do not understand, she said, voice shaking the valley. You never did. The eggs deep in the caverns pulsed. The diplomats backed away, but it was too late. Caleb moved. He stepped between dragon and delegation, palms raised. Stop, he said. Every eye snapped to him. The diplomat stared. Human, move aside. You don't understand. I do, Caleb said calmly. And that's the problem. He turned to the delegation. You came here thinking dragons were a resource, he said. Something to manage. Something to extract value from. Silence. You didn't ask why they burned everyone who came before. No answer. So let me tell you, Caleb continued, because every visitor treated their children like assets. The ground vibrated as dragons shifted behind him. Caleb looked back at Verithes. May I? He asked quietly. The queen studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Caleb turned back to the delegates. Dragons don't attack out of cruelty, he said. They attack because they learned something the rest of us forgot. He gestured to the valley. You don't protect the future with treaties. You protect it with presence. The diplomat's leader whispered. You were saying, food changed this? Caleb smiled faintly. No, respect did. One delegate, young, desperate, stepped forward. If we leave, she asked, will the dragons still burn us? Verithes answered. No, she said. If you leave empty-handed. The ships powered up immediately. As they retreated, something unexpected happened. A young dragon, same one who broke the grill, lifted its head and sniffed, then looked at Caleb. He sighed. Fine. Caleb grabbed a wrapped package from his supplies and jogged to the valley's edge. He tossed it gently into the retreating diplomat's hands. BBQ, he called. Eat it together. The ships vanished. The galaxy changed direction that day. It didn't work. Other species tried grilling near dragon territories. They brought meat, smoke, sauces. They were burned. Because they copied the action, not the intent. They wanted leverage. Caleb just wanted dinner. That night, under a sky streaked with ash stars, Verithes approached Caleb as he cleaned the grill. "Human," she said. "You could leave." He paused. "I could. You would be safe. Celebrated." "Yeah." She lowered her massive head closer. "Why do you stay?" Caleb thought of Earth, of crowded stations, of contracts and noise and endless negotiation. Then he looked at the valley. Dragons resting peacefully, eggs glowing softly, fire no longer angry. "Because," he said slowly, "this is the first place that didn't ask me to be more than human." Verithes' eyes softened. "Then hear this," she said. She spoke so the valley would remember. "From this day forward, dragons of Ashreach will not strike first against humanity." Caleb froze. That's huge. "Because humans understand something rare," she continued. "That power unused is still power." She touched her forehead gently to his shoulder. "And because you fed us without asking for anything back." Months later, the galaxy adjusted. Ashreach became neutral ground. Not a trade hub, a no-hunting zone. Humans were allowed entry, not because they were strong, but because they were trusted to bring food, not chains. And Caleb Ward? He became something no title could capture. Not an ambassador, not a hero, not a king. Just the human who taught dragons that fire could mean home. As smoke drifted into the sky and dragons rested nearby, Caleb flipped one last skewer and smiled. "Dinner's ready," he said. The valley rumbled happily.